It's working.
Yes. Well, and they got the screen fixed so that you could close the curtain.
Oh,
They
okay.
must have used a different screen.
All right. All right, thank you. All
That's
right, good
good.
morning and welcome to the Jefferson County Commission meeting. Today is January 30th, it's 9:30 a.m. The purpose of today's meeting is a training with our assessor, Miss Angie Banks. I'll turn the floor over to her.
Can we wait just a couple minutes for
We're
June?
waiting for June, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
well,
she is.
it's-
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting ready to start.
It's all right. We're waiting for you. That's important.
I told her she better go get her water. I'm Angie Banks. I'm the assessor. And this is my chief appraiser and coordinator, June Bowers. June's been in the office for over 37 years.
She's
So-
happy to get out today.
Yes.
Well, I guess I am out of the office.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. My stupid dad joke. Sorry, mom joke.
So we're going to go over a few points and over the Jefferson County Board of Review and Equalization to so that taxpayers and you will have more information on it. And if you have any questions or you want us to stop, put up your hand. No one else is coming.
I was hoping that Pasha would come. I know
He-
Tricia had an obligation.
He might be online. I'm not
Okay.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
I know last year was my first and I was a little lost and I had some questions. So I really appreciate this. Thank
Here's
you.
forward. You can give Edwina one. So this packet goes along with the slides.
Yes, ma'am.
Some of the slides are hard to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like a copy? I have another copy if you want me.
Okay, as you know, each year we mail out letters. Now, this year we only mailed out, I would say around 3,000. Last year, we mailed out over 19,000. What causes the letters, anything that is increased 10% or greater, and it has to be at least $1,000 greater than last year. Last year, we did an overall increase, as well as we had a whole lot of new construction. This year, we had to increase a few neighborhoods, and yes, we still had a good bit of new construction, especially in the housing market.
Yes.
We don't get a whole lot of commercial.
Right.
We get some. Okay, so anyway, the taxpayer can request in writing an informal review to resolve classification, taxability, or valuation. So have we had very many taxpayers this year?
Really haven't.
Have we done any agreements, maybe?
No agreements at this point. There was one application sent out that he was going to think about it. And
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, that's it.
Okay, so before board of review starts, if a taxpayer wants to meet with us, we meet with them and we see if there's any issues and we look at the classification and all of that at that point. Then once board of review starts, we tell them they can apply to the board of review. And sometimes we agree with them even before board of review after looking at their information. So then we bring it to you and leave it up to you to agree on what we agreed on.
We will correct any mistakes that have been made.
So the taxpayer may apply to the county commission sitting as board of review and equalization in February before the county commission sine dies. The next step, let's say if they did not, how do I get that to move? It doesn't seem to be. Move it to the next slide. Okay. Let's say if they decide they didn't want to do an informal review and they do not want to do Board of Review, they can opt to do the Office of Tax Appeals. Last year was the first year we had that. And we probably had at least a few dozen.
Yes.
Oh, really?
And a
Yes.
lot of them, 95% of them, we talked to, they hadn't gotten in touch with us. They went directly to the Office of Appeals rather than going over information with us. So a lot of those resolved when they actually came and spoke with the office.
Okay.
Yes. None of those went to hearing, none of the residential.
No.
Yeah, we have one commercial that has gone to hearing, and we're still not finished
Yeah.
with that commercial business. We still have another date set up.
Yes.
Yeah, so it can drag out for a long time. I prefer making an agreement ahead of time and we're done.
Yes.
Right. Okay. General information on the Board of Review. The County Commission shall annually meet not later than, did you move it to the next? Okay.
Can you try the clicker again? It was switched from.
Okay, so you can go back.
Oh,
Well,
Okay.
now it did.
Okay.
There we go.
It's-
Okay, so annually for the Board of Review, you have to open up Board of Review no later than February 1st. You can start sooner, but no later than February 1st. That you meet as a Board of Equalization. The board shall not adjourn more than 3 days at a time, but you do not include Saturday, Sunday, or legal holidays. And then you can sine die anytime after February 15th, but you cannot sine die before February 15th. And you cannot hear classification or taxability.
Would you please tell me what does sine die mean?
That is when you're actually officially, okay, that this is it, we have closed
Okay,
our Board of Review.
okay, thank you.
We are done. And then they still have time.
I think so, Mike.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just make sure that there's like a line from
Sorry.
the face to it, and it's about 4 to 6 inches.
oh, okay, is that good?
You can telescope it out to you a little bit more.
All right, is that a little better?
That's a lot better.
Sorry, thank you.
So let's say you close Board of Review. If
Mhm.
we're done, it's February 16th. A taxpayer still has 30 days to apply for the Office of Tax Appeals. I'm
Okay.
still getting used to that.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
But that took place of circuit, that used to go to circuit court. Now it's Office of Tax Appeals. They can also go there, let's say if they had a hearing with you and no agreement was made and they're not happy, they can file with the
Yeah.
Office of Tax Appeals. They can also file with them over taxability and classification.
Okay.
Okay, whereas as you know, you cannot hear that.
Yeah.
But the Office of Tax Appeals can. But the taxpayer is supposed to first try to resolve it with us. If it's not resolved, it then goes to the legal division at the tax department, our tax commissioner. If the taxpayer is still not happy, they can then take it to the OTA, Office of Tax Appeals. And that is with classification and taxability. Taxability gets into like your exemptions and whether or not you should have received the farm use if you don't agree, or if you feel as though you should be totally tax exempt, your organization.
okay.
That is what they hear. You do not hear that.
So
Okay.
just so I'm clear, that sine die means to close our hearings. But if a person's still not satisfied, they have 30 days to then take it to the Office of Tax Appeals?
Yes,
Okay, and that's a very simplified version of what you just said.
yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yes, it
Thank
is.
you.
It was
Okay.
very good.
Well,
You understand.
Thank you. I have a general understanding now. Okay. Thank you.
And then the Board of Review notice, you approved this at one of your meetings, I do believe at the beginning of January. And it has all the dates set on there that we'll meet. And we have to open it up each of these days, The first meeting is Thursday, February 1st at 1:30. The second one is Tuesday, February 6th at 1:30. Thursday, February 8th at 1:30. Tuesday, February 13th at 1:30. And Friday, February 16th at 1:30. And at that time, you will sign a die unless we have had more, like, let's say taxpayers come in by the 16th and we needed to schedule them.
Okay.
We do try to get the taxpayers to come into our office and actually make appointments. And we try to do that about February 9th to
Okay.
give us time to look over their information. But they really do not have to have an appointment. They can just come to Board of Review while you're open and say, here's our issue with our property.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to try it? This next one is just the application that we have everyone fill out to put in their it's not going to work. Sarita, it's not working again. I don't know. This, they put in their map and parcel, their purchase price, and the reasons for their complaint. And it gives us an opportunity to look over it to see why they are saying their property is worth this amount instead of what we have it for.
So that's for the taxpayer to fill out and
Yes,
either
yes,
resolve in your office or come to Board of
Yeah,
Review and
yes.
equalization.
yes, either way. A lot of times we use this for border review.
Right, yeah.
Yes. If we come to an agreement in our office, we have forms that we sign and the taxpayer signs that we agreed on this value. Now, West Virginia 11-3-1, all properties shall be assessed annually as of July 1st at 60% of its true and actual value. The properties that are exceptions to this rule is like your managed timberland, farm, real estate, pollution control facilities, dealer vehicle inventory, because this also includes personal property. You can go to Board of Review and actually say my vehicle's too high or it was junk and get it adjusted if necessary. Certain manufacturing production property, specialty aircraft property, and high technology property. Some of these type of properties are done as salvage value. Do you have any questions about that? And I kind of did a little property tax formula. You take your appraised value and multiply it by 60% and then by our tax rate. So I put an example on here. If your house is worth $300,000, and if you take 60% of that and you multiply that value by the tax rate, and I use the class 2 tax rate for the 2023 tax year. So then your taxes for the year would be around $2,102. And I say approximately because you can also get a discount if you pay early. Now we'll get into a little bit of our sales ratio because this is what we talk about a lot of times at our Board of Review. We look at the sales ratio and we look at the property that is being, I guess, speculated and looking at the value. Okay, this report compares real property values to selling prices of properties in each neighborhood located in the county. The 2024 time period is July 1st of 22 through the end of June 23. Only sales determined to be arm's length sales by the assessor are used. Sales verification letters, door hangers, property reviews are done to verify the validity of the sales. The medians or aggregate ratios of appraised values should be between 90 and 110%. The COD should be 15 or less for the residential improved property and 20 or less for other types of property. This signifies uniform distribution of value.
May I stop you just for, I'm sorry again, but
No, that's
I have
okay.
another question. Can you tell me, please, what does arm's length sales mean?
You want to explain that, June?
That would be a sale that is open, it's actually offered to the public.
Okay,
If your cousin next door comes knocks on the door and say, I want to buy your house, they make an offer, that's not an
That's
open
not-
market sale.
yes,
It has
ma'am.
to be a
It has to
willing
go-
seller and a willing and knowledgeable seller and buyer.
yes, ma'am, thank
And
you.
not related.
Oh, not related, even
Not
if it hits the
related.
market? Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to look at that if it's a related sale. Even in businesses, sometimes they're related
Mhm.
corporations.
So can you explain how you define or segregate the neighborhoods? Because some people think of neighborhoods as their subdivision, and that may be true for your uses and other times it's not. So,
In some cases, it is neighborhoods, like neighborhoods, but we also take the rural areas of the county. We will sometimes combine several minor subdivisions. You have to have so many properties within a neighborhood to be able to maintain value,
right.
because you have to have enough properties to have the sales to maintain value. I do have an example in here. Now, this sales ratio is for an actual subdivision.
Okay.
And the first page here shows you all the sales. And down on your right-hand line
Mhm.
here, that shows the ratios of our appraisals in comparison to the sales themselves. This particular neighborhood, there are 41 sales. And if you go to the second page, what we're looking at is, and Angie had brought up the aggregate, the median, and the COD. That's where this comes into play. I have it highlighted here. This is the median. This median must be between 90 and 110%.
Is that not, am I looking at the wrong one? That seems to be in the, did you say aggregate?
Aggregate, I'm sorry, aggregate is the first one, I apologize.
Okay, I just-
Median will be the
I just
second
wanna-
one.
I
Say,
just wanna
it's the
be
same
sure.
ratio.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
No, I just
Yes.
want to be sure.
The
what I'm-
aggregate should be between 90 and 110. The next one is the median, and it also should be between 90 and 110. And then the COD, which is the last one. And basically the COD is showing you how scattered your sales are. What you're trying to do is keep that COD low. That means that all of your sales are more compact and closer together without a lot of outliers.
Okay, I got you. So there isn't one that went for $1 million and the rest of the neighborhood is at 500,000.
Exactly. yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, hang on just real quick. What does COD mean?
COD is basically looking at a bullseye, and what you want to do is you want to have those sales as close to that bullseye as
Okay,
possible.
okay.
So the lower that number, the more compact your sales are.
Okay, okay, yes, ma'am, I had that. I just was curious to know if COD was an acronym for
It
something.
is coefficient of dispersion.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We need to be under 15, and we're at 3.41 in this
Close.
neighborhood. That shows it's really, the sales and the values of the property are close.
Okay, must be under 15. And Jane, I think I heard you say something I want to write down. You said, so you don't want to be having one house at about $1 million and then the others at about 500,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, I mean, in an ideal world
Yes,
for these
right.
numbers.
Sure,
Right now,
sure.
with this crazy market, we've had outliers, but it still worked. But yes, you sometimes, I've never seen the COD down to 0. I have seen it at 1 and 2, but I've never seen it at 0.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
in this neighborhood, the houses are very similar.
Yeah,
The lot
right,
sizes
right.
are similar. What you're talking about, like 500,000 million, we see that in the overall neighborhood.
Like
Yeah.
in the rural.
Right, in the
Yes.
rules.
Yes,
area.
ma'am.
Yeah, I can see that.
thank you. I just want to
Well, that's
understand.
what we're here for.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, the next one I have is actually the overall sales ratio for the county. This is what the state actually monitors us on. They don't look at the individual neighborhoods. They look at the overall county ratio. So for the 2024, we are just barely in, but we're in. The aggregate is 90.42. Your median is 90.25. And the COD, considering this is countywide, is 8.10, and that is good.
Okay.
And with this crazy market, I mean, we are keeping our values in line, but yet we're not going extreme because we don't want to have to hear in a year or two, all of a sudden drop values. So we're trying to maintain with the market at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at 90%. That's where we have to be. That's our minimum.
Okay.
Okay, what page are we on up here?
Should be monitoring.
Oh, it worked.
And I guess that this would be a good time just to kind of throw in the commercials.
Did you have anything else? Like, didn't we have a farmland?
Those are, I was doing those at the very end.
Okay,
Yeah, those
Okay.
are going to, the review documents will be over at the end.
okay.
One thing I did want to kind of throw at, and this may be a good, of course, we also appraise commercial properties. Commercial properties, as far as maintaining value, is based on sales and replacement costs. And we will consider the income approach if the owner approaches us and will give us 3 years worth of income and expense documentation. So that is considered, but it would be something that the property owner would have to approach us and request.
Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about our monitoring report. We were monitored for 2023. We will not be monitored for 2024 since we passed 23. They will monitor us again in 25. If you do not pass your monitoring, they will monitor you every year until you pass. Because there's certain expectations and, being fair and uniform and to have your values where they should be. That's really important. So on our monitoring report, all of these were satisfactory. Residential land, commercial land, ag use land, residential modifier, commercial modifier, sales validity, appraisal uniformity, which is sold versus unsold, on schedule, our 3-year plan. I've got to do a 3-year plan every 3 years. A 3-year cycle of what districts we're going door to door, just for door-to-door review. And sometimes we have to go back to the same property that we just reviewed because they have a building permit now, and we have to go back before the 3-year review. And then our appraisal evaluation is a sales ratio. So this is what they monitor us on as far as, it's basically, they kind of do a report card on us.
So this is the state.
Yes,
State
this is
level
the
that
state does
monitoring
that.
each assessor across
Yes,
the state.
and as you see this next page, it's our exit conference. So the monitor comes in and sits down and shows me that our quality of data is good, our procedures are all good, sales validity are good, appraisal uniformity, everything's on schedule, and our sales ratio is good. And then I sign off and she signs off. If there are any issues, it would have recommendations checked. And if you get too many recommendations, you end up having to get monitored each year until you are where you should be.
Okay.
So you get-
And if an assessor really doesn't do their job, they can remove them after a couple years.
Oh, boy.
Well,
Yes.
it wouldn't take long for, at least around here, maybe it's different in other parts of the state, for things to get out of whack if you didn't keep up.
Right.
We stayed on top.
And did you want to talk a little bit about the, let's see, the residential modifier and commercial modifier, what that is and how we come up with those modifiers?
Okay. The mass appraisal system is a statewide system. So each county has to basically get with the contractors and find out what it costs to build here as far as material costs, labor, so on and so forth. So we do a study each year where we pick out new houses. We contact the contractors that have built them and get them to fill a form out. And from that, we get a modifier that we apply to the building value for commercial and residential. Basically, that modifies that base table to what it costs in this particular area. And of course, here in comparison to other parts of the state, there is a very large gap, I'm sure.
I'm just
So-
curious, do the school buildings come into that in any way, or is that just a different animal that you don't
That's
enter?
exempt. So
That's what I knew.
that's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
we
just was
would do
curious on construction costs.
Yeah, we would do residential houses and we could do buildings also.
Yeah.
But right now with the building going on, we have no lack of brand new houses.
Right, you're right.
And commercials, I mean, we don't get a whole lot of commercial turnover and a lot of commercial new construction, but we just maintain that on a year-to-year basis.
Okay.
As the new construction comes in, we add it into the mix and just maintain that commercial.
We still maintain the value for the exempt properties.
Yes.
The government, the
Oh, yes.
schools,
Mhm.
because that is still a part of our county value,
Okay,
even though it's not taxed.
right.
I
Okay.
mean, if you took off all your exempt properties, your county might go to a different classification.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
that all of that is part of the value
yeah.
of the county.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's just not used for the studies, but it
Right.
is, we do maintain those values.
Okay.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, if you want to go over the.
All right. Okay, is there any other questions at this point? Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. There it goes. Okay, now, when we actually get into the hearings, this is our property record card. That each property has one of these, and we print them out from the system, of course. So I've just kind of highlighted a few things to point out, things we get into when we're talking about these appeals. Here to the left, this is the land value and how the land's done. This particular case is actually a townhouse, it's lot size. We have two ways to do residential properties, either by lot size or by acreage. I have highlighted that this is tax year 2024. This right here at the top is the dwelling. This is the dwelling information telling you story height, bathroom, bedrooms, whether it has finished basement, fireplaces, that type of thing. We have an actual sketch. We actually measure and list each house from the exterior. This to the left of the sketch are the addition codes to tell us if there's porches or decks or what's attached to the house. Here in this to the right, where I've got it highlighted, is the actual appraised value of the property.
Okay.
Any questions on that at this point?
That actually really helps having it highlighted because sometimes you
does.
just,
Yes.
it's so much
Now-
information, you don't know where to start.
Yes.
I have a second one here. The second one, I'm not going to go into as much detail. This is actually a farm property.
Mhm.
So your land is now multiple lines because with a farm, it's a different breakdown. This particular one has a home site, tillable land, and pasture land. So with the acreage, sometimes it's broken down into multiple lines as far as how the property is used. Also, the other one didn't have, and this one does, is outbuildings,
Right, yeah.
which is in your lower left-hand corner. We have codes for all of these. This is a farm piece, so it is a lot of the farm buildings.
Okay.
And of course, this one has the house too, so.
So this drawing, these are the, pardon me, the measurements of the house?
Yes,
Okay,
this is
not-
how we do our appraisal. It's
Yes.
based on exterior measurements.
Okay,
This one here is fairly simple. It is a one-story vinyl sided home with a open frame porch on the front and an open frame porch on the back. Yep, because the codes are 11s, and that's an open frame porch.
now is that anything I need to worry about? That's,
I mean,
Good to know,
we'll kind of go over that, no,
Okay.
because you're not seeing the house, you're basically just seeing information. The
okay,
property owner would probably be the one to dispute that if there's any, with them living in the house and knowing the property.
okay,
That would be something that they would dispute if they don't
Okay.
think it's right.
okay, thank you.
Did you want to show them our blotters, our temporary land books till we get it?
Yeah.
Our permanent. So when we are
Yeah.
finishing up,
Yeah.
we print out these books. And are those what district? Charlestown?
Charlestown Corp is what I'm handing
Yeah.
out, but we also have district.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
We
Thank
brought
you.
enough for everybody to look at.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
my.
it tells you like it's A through L or whatever.
I haven't seen this kind of printer paper in a long time.
But we print those in
Yeah.
the office
Wow.
so that people can come in and the county commission, you actually should come in and inspect your area
Okay,
and take a look at it. Now, we can also pull out our last year's land book, and we have written in the new value, so you can see how much it's gone up or if it's gone down. Sometimes we do have demolition permits or,
yeah.
things change.
Mhm.
And those are assessed values that are printed. That's actually what the rate would be applied to.
But we proofread each year, so we print out those blotters and look at it, use last year's land book, and we
Yes.
compare and do a lot of proofreading. When we get the increase letters, when we print those, we look over them to see if we see, some value that maybe could be an error.
Mhm.
So if we can fix it before it goes out,
Yeah. all
we
better.
do.
What does it mean when it says, you probably know this like the back of your hand, but far right, it says land, improvements, minerals. What is this minerals? What is that?
That is like your oil, if there's any oil, gas, coal,
Mhm.
that type of thing. We have like Millville Quarry.
Okay,
They have that's our largest amount of minerals. And then we have some properties that have some minerals.
That have
And
shale
we have a
pits.
little bit of gas and oil, not very much, but it's like $100 assessed value here and there. And none of ours are severed. In some counties, some of these minerals are severed and they're taxed separately.
okay,
I'm glad that we do not have that.
okay. So it's interesting to me that we pay attention to that. I have here Charlestown houses. It looks like a neighborhood. These things are in our soil. That's interesting.
It's a report we get from the state.
That's pretty cool.
So if somebody wants to challenge that, they would have to do that through the
Yeah.
state.
I see.
We do not value those.
Well, thank you. I just think that's really interesting.
Well,
I
and
didn't
there
know
are
that.
some farms that have shale pits, and there's a shale pit. in
Steve, did you
Leetown
wanna-
and Stuff like
I-
that.
I thought you wanted to say something, but
Basically,
okay.
gives us a list, so it's
Yeah.
not something we
Different,
determine.
yeah.
They give us the list and we apply it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if it's something being mined, it's worth a lot more.
Right, right.
And like Millville Quarry, that's where we have,
Okay.
like your rocks and
Yeah.
whatever that they're
Well, in other
mining.
parts of the state, they have the gas leases on
Yes,
individual
yes.
properties, so gas and oil, and people heat their houses with it as well as sell it to the company.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes 75 people may have interest
Yeah,
in the one well.
you're
And
right.
That's
It's
when
very-
I'm like, I'm so glad that
It's very
we
complicated.
don't have that. I mean, it could be good, but yeah, it would be a lot more work.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, we have all the books in the office, real and personal. If you ever want us to bring them to the board of review, we can. By code, it says we actually physically carry all these to the board of review. Nobody does that anymore, but
A lot to carry.
if you want us to, we will get all 5 of our things filled up and bring them to you.
Well, and remind me after board of review to come in and look at the middle
Yeah.
way district. I've done that in the past, but not recently. And
Yes.
unfortunately, you tend to look up your neighbors.
Now,
Oh, she just admitted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
hard
I'd like to
not
do
to.
that
Yes,
too.
yeah.
That's
Now-
really neat.
the big difference between those books and our actual land books that will not be printed until at least May. Our land books are printed once you have agreed on your budgets and the tax rate has been set that 3rd Tuesday of April. And then I have to wait until the auditor sends me the paper saying what everybody's tax rate is and it's approved. I have to enter it on our system. And then our land books, they start getting printed in May.
Okay, all right.
Now, let's say if we have a special levy in the May election,
Yeah, you gotta wait.
right, I could not do my books until
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would run everything a little behind. But it would be on that tax bill
Right.
in July. Now, a levy for the general election
Mhm.
will not get on the tax bill to the next July.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I want to write that down. Would you mind saying that again? So a
Okay.
levy in
Yeah, if it's, do you
the,
have to do special levies? Are they now only general election or can you run them in the primary?
I think you can only run the primary in general.
Okay, but you just can't have a special election like you
Okay.
used to. So if it is in the primary, we would have to wait to see if that passes
Yeah.
and get the information from the auditor's office before we could enter those rates and run our books. So it may be June or
Right.
later before our books would get run.
Right.
And of course, the tax office depends on us to get that information done. So they can get a tape from our book and that's how they generate their bills. But they like to get on there and change any new addresses and to do that in the meantime, because once they get that, we're not making address changes. It will make no difference because it's at the tax office.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give them 24 and we are making changes in 25.
Right.
Okay,
so if it goes on a general, then,
election, it'll be the next tax year. And, all that'll be done and we'll, everything in April, we will get those papers from the auditor's office that were approved rates, approved budgets. And I would then enter all the rates and it's going to be on that tax ticket in July. And the thing about everything, all the tax rates goes, all the levies, all that goes across all the properties, whether it's real estate or personal. All the tax tickets are included.
Okay. So it's not just land, buildings, it's autos and,
Yes,
Oh,
mobile
that's
homes, whether
okay.
they're real estate or personal,
okay.
that goes across.
I
It
don't guess I
taxes
realized that.
everything. Yeah, a lot of people do not realize that, but yes, it goes across everything. Everything that's on that certificate of value, your public utilities. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it.
Okay.
thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. I'm just scribbling. real
So
quick.
do you have any questions? I think we are done with our slides.
That's pretty much all we've got today.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
And do we have anybody scheduled yet, Jude?
No. Right now, there's one application that's sent out, that was like a week or so ago, he's just gonna think about it. I don't see that.
And our first meeting's Thursday, or board meeting.
Yes, we meet this Thursday.
At 1:30? Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday during our meeting, basically, 1:30.
And we're still
Yeah.
meeting in the courthouse.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that covers, that the minimum amount of meetings you actually need to have in the courthouse. You meet that during board of review.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that very
welcome.
much. That
So if
was
you think of
very
anything
helpful.
else that you want explained or you have questions, email us, call us.
So would you say May or June would be a good time for me to come to your office to have a look and hopefully get held by the hand and say, this is what you want to see, and this is,
You can
Guide
come
me.
anytime.
okay,
Anytime.
okay.
Anytime. Now, if you want to see our new land books when they're printed, that will happen. It's at least the middle of May.
Okay,
before
that
they're
must be what
printed.
I was thinking of.
Yeah, if you
So,
want
but
to look
anytime,
at
yeah.
those, and
Okay.
that's where it shows all the taxes extended, all the
Okay.
rates have been entered. That all has to be done before those books are printed.
Okay,
And we order those from the tax department. They send me one set and I verify to make sure it's correct, all the
Okay.
values, the tax rates. We double check, triple check,
Wow.
quadruple check all of our figures constantly. We're afraid that something may get changed in the office or at the tax department
Right.
level. We make sure everything stays the same, our value, as well as making sure that the tax rates are entered correctly.
okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple of corrections to make. So the first thing I do is check totals before I do anything else.
Gotcha.
And if something just changes 500,
Yeah.
assessed value, we are looking for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
We
We
have
are.
to find it.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness.
Once we prove them out, everything's been proofread, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You must love your job.
Interesting.
That would be.
And our predecessor, she's
That's
the
good.
one that really made us. I mean, if we went up a whole lot in value,
Yeah.
I'd have to look through every book, every
Oh,
figure,
boy.
and figure out where it came from.
Oh,
Or if
boy.
it was just because we had that overall increase, back in 05, 06, when things
Right.
skyrocketed.
Went crazy.
Okay.
Yes,
And-
I've been in the office since 1993,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I remember your predecessor would go out one day and all the construction equipment,
Yes,
even if it was owned by somebody outside of the county, it got taxed in our county.
Oh,
yes, I went out and
Everything's July
I've
1st.
gone out
Just
before,
right around
and I've taken pictures and I have written down the names of the companies.
Yeah.
Most of them will contact our office
Yeah,
and fill
okay.
out forms and let us know their equipment's here July 1st, not in Mon County or wherever.
Yeah.
Because
So
we don't
you-
want to double assess.
No.
We're-
And I don't know how you keep track though, because
Right.
right now, there's a lot of moving targets. of the
Mhm.
Right.
construction department.
Did I hear you say that you get taxed on things that you don't own, but that you're using, that belong to somebody else? In the
It-
county, that you're using
I
in the county,
believe-
or?
It's just being located here, and whoever owns that equipment
Oh, okay.
needs
Yeah.
to file a form
I got you.
on the equipment.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, because sometimes we have that huge
Right.
construction equipment.
Right.
There was some, we have to send out even on business, personal property, if it went up more than 100,000 last year. And so I went through all of those. We had less than 200
Yeah.
letters, but I went through those to make sure they were correct. And some of those were new equipment
Right.
and stuff that's just here temporarily for a
Right.
job site.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they still have to pay tax here because it's located
Yeah.
here on July 1st.
Gotcha. Thank you. Didn't realize that.
Interesting.
I just remembered Ginger's reputation. She got every dime.
Well, I remember we used to assess the cows and the
Yeah,
farm equipment.
Right, yeah. You had to
Chickens.
list all
yes.
your farm equipment and all your critters.
Well, that's
And-
the last one.
Yeah.
And that was class 1. We do not assess anything in class 1 anymore.
Yeah.
They still
Okay.
show class 1 rates,
Right.
but there's nothing assessed in class 1.
Oh,
But that
that's-
was like your farm equipment, farm animals, promissory notes.
I'm just picturing people checking 3 chickens, 2 cows, 4
Yeah.
goats.
A
Really?
bull,
More
we
like
usually have one
300
bull.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get real here.
I need to, yes, okay. Okay, I need to
Yes.
think big. That's funny.
Does anybody else have any further questions? All right, we'll see you Thursday.
Okay.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thank
putting this
you.
on. So therefore, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do.
Problem, and like I say, come up with